In 1968, the world created a rulebook to stop the spread of nuclear weapons. Almost every country eventually signed it. But India refused. And 50 years later, India still refuses. Yet today, India buys uranium, builds nuclear reactors with foreign partners, and sits at the top table of global geopolitics. How did the international system end up bending its own rules for one country that refused to join? To understand why, you have to look at the map in the 1960s. India had just lost a brief, bitter border war with China in 1962. 2 years later, China successfully tested its first nuclear bomb. Suddenly, India was sharing a massive disputed border with a hostile nuclear-armed neighbor. New Delhi was looking for security. But when the Non-Proliferation Treaty or the NPT was introduced in 1968, India saw a trap. The treaty had a very specific catch. It defined a nuclear weapon state as any country that had tested a weapon before January 1, 1967. Exactly 5 countries fit that definition: the US, the Soviet Union, the UK, France, and China. Under the new rules, these 5 countries were allowed to keep their weapons. Everyone else who signed the treaty had to promise never to build one. For India, the timing of that 1967 cutoff date was impossible to ignore. This is where India made a decision that changes history. India's objection wasn't that the treaty went too far in banning nuclear weapons. India argued that it did not go far enough. The treaty did not force the 5 major powers to disarm. It simply created a permanent global monopoly. Indian diplomats called it a nuclear apartheid, a system designed to permanently divide the world into nuclear haves and have-nots. So India walked away. But walking away came with a heavy price tag. In 1974, India conducted what it called a peaceful nuclear explosion. The global reaction was swift and punishing. The major powers formed the Nuclear Suppliers Group, a cartel specifically designed to cut India off from global nuclear technology. For decades, India was isolated. Then in 1998, India crossed the line completely. It tested nuclear weapons at Pokhran and officially declared itself a nuclear-armed state. The international community imposed massive economic sanctions. India was treated as a global rogue. From the outside, the criticism of India was fierce. Supporters of the NPT argued that the treaty had successfully stopped dozens of countries from building bombs, and that India's defiance had only triggered a dangerous arms race in South Asia, pushing Pakistan to build its own nuclear arsenal. But New Delhi looked at the map differently. Facing a nuclear-armed China and later a nuclear-armed Pakistan, India believed that accepting permanent nuclear inequality would permanently destroy its strategic autonomy. So how did a heavily sanctioned country come in from the cold? Fast forward to the mid-2000s, the geopolitical reality had changed. The US now saw India as an essential strategic partner in Asia. Between 2005 and 2008, Washington and New Delhi negotiated a landmark civil nuclear agreement. And then, the ultimate contradiction happened. The very same Nuclear Suppliers Group that was created in 1974 specifically to punish India granted India a historic waiver. This waiver allowed India to trade in civilian nuclear technology without ever signing the NPT. India was not officially recognized as a nuclear weapon state under the treaty. Instead, the global system simply created an unprecedented exception just for India. The NPT was designed to permanently lock the doors of the nuclear club. India refused to accept those rules, built its own deterrent, and eventually gained international nuclear cooperation without ever signing the treaty. It leaves us with one of modern history's greatest strategic questions. Was India's refusal an act of dangerous nuclear defiance, or a strategic decision not to accept a system it believed would permanently lock in nuclear inequality? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. My name is Raman and I'll see you in the next episode soon. Jai Hind.